All right, today we're going to learn how to divide polynomials, lesson 3.3. And so we're going to talk about long division. Do you remember it from elementary school? So there's a reason they taught you how to do this. It's to help you in high school. So if we are dividing this polynomial without a calculator, your denominator will go on the outside of our box. And I've got 247 inside of our division symbol. And then you're going to ask yourself, does 5 go into 2? It does not. So then does 5 go into 24? It does. 5 times what would get you the closest to 24? 5 times 4 is going to be 20. And then what did you do with these two numbers? You subtracted them. 24 minus 20 is 4. And then what do we do with the 7? We brought it down and have 47. And then you repeated the process. 5 times what would get you to 47? The closest would be 5 times 9. And I know 9 times 5 is 45. And then what do we do with these numbers? We subtracted them. 47 minus 45 is 2, and then I don't have anything else to bring down, and we're just going to leave it like this. I think you guys did decimals maybe in elementary school, but you would take this 2 and this 5, and if you remember, that's called a remainder, and so your final answer would be 49 2/5. So that is what you did in elementary school with long division. And now we are just going to divide polynomials using this exact same method. So, not going to lie, this is one of the most difficult lessons of Algebra 2. I'm going to teach you long division, and then I'm going to teach you a shortcut, which I prefer, the box method. So, let's talk about long division with polynomials. So, my first step, I'm going to draw my division box, and what is in the denominator is going to go outside. So I'm dividing by x minus 1, so that's going to go on your outside. Your numerator is going to go on the inside, which is this lovely cubic polynomial. All right. Now we're going to repeat this same process but with variables. So, can x go into x cubed? It can. X times what is x cubed? It is x squared. Once you have this number, we multiplied it by our outside number and wrote our answer here. So x squared times an x is x cubed. Now I've got two terms, so I'll have two things. X squared times negative 1 is negative 1x squared. Then, what did we do with these two numbers? We subtracted them. Now, when you're subtracting two terms, you're subtracting all of this, which I'm going to put in parentheses real quick. So I'm subtracting, and so fun fact, this will turn into a positive because I'm minusing a negative. And then let's subtract them. So x cubed minus x cubed will cancel out. 3 minus a negative, which we know is a positive, so a positive 3x squared plus a 1x squared would give you a 4x squared. Then what do we do with this lovely term over here? We bring it down. So now I've got 4x squared minus x. I'm going to come back over here. How many times can x go into 4x squared? It would be a 4 and then an x, because x times 4x is 4x squared. Now I'm going to multiply 4x by these outside terms to get my last two terms. So 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times a negative 1 is a negative 4x. And then what did we do with these two terms? We subtracted them. And if you subtract a negative, that will turn into a positive. 4x squared minus 4x squared will cancel. And then a negative 1 plus a 4 will be a positive 3x. And then what do we do with this lovely 2? We bring it down. All right, we keep going. We ask ourselves, x times what will give you a 3x, which is a positive 3. So then I take this number, multiply it to give me these two terms. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And then what do we do with these two? We're going to subtract them. Now remember, minusing a negative, that will turn into a plus. So 3 minus 3 will cancel, and then 2 plus 3 is 5. Now I don't have anything else to bring down, so I am done. This 5 is called your remainder. And just like our remainder up here, we put it over our outside number. So my remainder will be a 5 over my x minus 1. And all of that up here is our answer of x squared plus 4x plus 3 plus 5 over x minus 1. Woohoo! So, a whole lot of work. Not gonna lie, I don't really like polynomial long division, and so we're actually going to use a box method to help us out. Okay? So, if you're freaked out, that's fine. Let's do a box method. All right. In the box method, the first step, you are going to draw a box. And it is going to be 2 lines, so you're drawing 6 boxes. Now, the first step is to take what you're dividing by and put it on the left outside. So I'm dividing by x minus 1, so I'm going to have an x here and a negative 1 here. The next step you're going to do is take this first term and put it in the first box, x cubed. Now, we already know how to multiply using our box method from the last video, so now we're just going to work in reverse. So, I know my first term is x cubed. I have an x out here. So x times what would give me x cubed? Well, I know x times an x squared will give me an x cubed. Now that I know this first answer is x squared, I can multiply these two numbers, x squared and negative 1, to get this bottom left box. I know x squared times negative 1 is negative 1x squared. Now, I need my x squared terms to be a positive 3x. However, I have a negative 1x. So I need to put something in this box so that my diagonals will match up to give you a positive 3. So you're going to ask yourself, negative 1 plus what could I put in that box to get me to a positive 3? The answer would be a 4, because 4 minus 1 would be a positive 3. So I need to put a 4x squared in this box so that 4x squared minus 1 gives me a positive 3. Now let's figure out this top part. I know I have an x out here. I'm trying to figure out what times an x will give me to a 4x squared. That will be a 4x, because 4x times x is 4x squared. Once you've got this top number, I can now multiply this top number and this bottom to get this bottom middle box. 4x times a negative 1 is a negative 4x. Okay? I'm going to look back at my problem. I have a negative 4x, but I need a negative 1x. So again, I'm going to have to force something in this box to get a negative 1. So I'm going to ask myself -4 plus what can I put in this box to get me a -1? The opposite of a -4 would be adding 4. And so if I put a 3 in the box, -4 plus 3 will get me to a -1. So I'm going to force a positive 3 in this box. Now I can figure out my top box, asking myself what times an x will give me a 3x, be a positive 3. So then I can find this bottom right box by multiplying 3 by -1 to get -3. Now, however, I do not want a -3 in my problem. I want a positive 2. So again, I'm forcing myself. What can I put out here so that -3 plus what would be a positive 2? And that answer would be a 5, because I know a positive 5 minus 3 would be a positive 2. So if you look, our top part, all of this was from our answer. Okay? So what we found, again, you don't have to write this part. I know that x cubed plus 3x squared minus x plus 2, all of this is equal to this piece multiplied by this piece. So I've got x minus 1, and if I multiply by x squared plus 4x plus 3 plus a remainder of a 5, I would get this polynomial over here. Now my problem wanted me to divide by x minus 1. So if I divide everything by x minus 1, this is my original problem up here. These would cancel out, and I'm left with my answer, which I already got, and I already knew I got from my previous problem. So I've got x squared plus 4x plus 3 plus my remainder of 5 over x minus 1. So again, you guys don't have to write this part. This is just to show you how you would get your answer. Now, this stuff is insanely hard, okay? So I do not expect you guys to completely understand what I just said. We're going to do several practice problems to get better at this, okay? But this is part 1 on dividing polynomials. I've shown you long division, and I've shown you a box method, and we are going to show you some more examples in part 2.